Welcome to the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast. I am your host, Ann Alston, and it is my pleasure to bring quality programs to all of you. I am so excited once again to be back again here with another amazing and motivative speaker who's going to come here and show us all about the value of our purpose. I also want to encourage everybody to please visit and listen to all of the podcast participants that are posted on the website this year. They are presenting a lot of good information, and so I want you to take advantage of this unique opportunity. You just can't get this information anywhere else. Just in case you did not know, the purpose of the Businessmen and Women of Color podcast is to share industry information and to encourage career seekers who are entering their line of work. And this can be in any shape or form or fashion that can be helpful to you and to the youth. We also want to take a moment to thank our corporate partners and sponsors, which are a family of authors, Butler Armstead Consulting Solutions, Human Resource Learning Center, JNF Enterprises, and Women Offering Wealth, along with other business and partners who is helping to make this event a success. Well, today, again, we have another motivational speaker here that he is on the value of purpose. And I would like to introduce Jared Birch to the podcast. He is the founder of Academy Victorious, and he is also the founder of Value and Purpose. And both of those he uses to teach empowerment and equip schools, corporations, sports teams, organizations, and other diverse professions on the power of knowing your purpose when you discover and value personal value. He also has a strong desire to wake and help define the true power we possess when we discover how valuable we are within. And his mantra is, on purpose in this life is preserved inside the value we have upon our lives, speaking value into the lives of millions of people across the globe. One of the other exciting things that he's going to talk about today is his new partnership with Big Man Takeover, which I'm going to let him talk about that because I think it's exciting. And he's also going to share with us some of his other practices that could be helpful to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jared Birch to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Miss Ann. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Just call me Ann. Well, Jared, I've seen some of your videos on Facebook, and I have to tell you, I was a bit impressed. I love your tenacity, your energy, and everything. So tell me about who is Jared Birch, and how did you get into the line of work that you got into today?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for allowing me to come onto your platform, to your audience, your demographic, and just allow myself to share what I have for the world with your world. So thank you. Just a little bit about me. I've been in ministry, traveling and doing ministry for over 15 over 15 years. So being and starting out in ministry, I had an understanding and a love and a passion for people. But one thing that I did understand, that my passion was directing me outside of just the four walls of the church. And anytime you have something that is a passion, it's always bigger than you. So through my personal life experiences, things growing up as a child, and the things that I had experienced personally within my life, and then growing up and maturing, brought about the birth of value on purpose. So to take it out, and anytime something is positive and something is powerful, it's meant to be shared to impact the world around you. So that just in a nutshell is what value on purpose was introduced to the world through me. Now the vehicle alone and where it's been taking me and where it's been going has been actually just unfolding, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
That's really great. So let me ask you a question, Jared. There's so many different motivational speakers out there who in addition to their ministry. What is different about your ministry in terms of when you speak about the value of purpose against all those other motivational speakers that are out there?
Well, I'm glad you asked. One thing is that I am not a motivational speaker. Um, I have a lot of colleagues that are motivational speakers, and that's excellent. But my area of expertise is focusational. Motivational, everyone needs motivation, and that's good. But my job is not to motivate you alone, because if I motivate you, you can still go in the wrong direction. As a focusational speaker, it is my job to focus you on the exact thing that is to ignite your passion and your purpose to get where you need to go. So I'm not a motivational speaker in the sense I just get you pumped and encourage you, and those are good. But my main objective is let's focus on what exactly do you need to get to your purpose. Value on Purpose is not a faith-based business or platform. It is worldwide. So when I speak at businesses or corporations or schools or universities, it's not a faith-based, although it is positive. When I go in, I am focusing on this thing right here, value, which means how much are you worth, and your purpose. When you find out how much you're worth, now this is the direction you need to go.
Okay. What has generally been the outcome of your teaching? What kind of results did you actually get from some of the people or feedback or reactions when you kind of go in there and you start talking about focusing on this value because it is different? I personally haven't heard of this particular concept before, so I'm interested to find out what is the reaction and how do people actually translate the information that you were giving to them.
It's always a breakthrough. I can't speak for anyone else, but it's always a breakthrough when you break in. You see, when I come in, whether I'm talking to a corporation, a school, a university, an organization, no matter what it is, I'm dealing with people. I'm not dealing with, per se, just the job. I want to deal with the person because let's say if I'm coming in and speaking to a high school, I am not coming in speaking to a student first. I'm coming in speaking to a human being first. Before you are an athlete, before you are whatever it is, I'm speaking to that person, that individual. And what I'm doing is I am addressing the thing that is beneath the surface, which is how a person feels and looks at themselves. So we get a lot of people, whether it's a profession, whether you're older, younger, we base within this society, we have learned to base our success and our own personal value based upon what we can produce. So if you are in a profession, you're only as valuable, as successful as you are, how we see it, as how much are you making? How many people are following you on Twitter? How many people are following you on Instagram? Things of that nature. But that's not true value. So when I go in, I'm finding that we're having such a breakthrough because people are screaming and crying out, this is what I do. It's not who I am. And that's why a lot of people are hurting inside. They're going through the motions. Sure, they're going through work. Your coworker smiles every day. Your classmate smiles and high fives you every day. But then you find out later that they're hurting, that they've been going through different things at home they didn't want to tell anybody about. And those are the things that are not seen that have a big and a major impact on how you look at yourself. So when I go in and I'm telling them, look, whether you decide to go forth with your career path, your job, whatever the case may be, that's good. However, how do you define your value? Not what you can produce, but how do you look at yourself? That's what true value is, because when you look at yourself and you see yourself the way you were designed and not what you have become, you finally start to realize who the real you has, what your assignment is. That's when we can start to talk about what is your real purpose. Not what makes you happy, but what is in your destiny for your life. That's what value and purpose is all about. And the response that we've been getting has been amazing.
Okay, so let me ask another question just to kind of take a different angle on it. Because I've seen that you were talking to youth who are athletes or just youth in general and adults. How do you translate the meaning of what or how they should find their purpose? Because purpose, I know, is a broad definition. It means different things to different people, especially when it comes to kids. One of the questions that I think you posed to me earlier was, how do people see themselves in this generation versus the past generations? Because I know that value to me in my generation means exactly what you're saying, but my son or my other family members may think that it means something else. So, how do you translate that meaning over to different lines of ages?
Well, the thing is when I talk about purpose, we break it down to, it doesn't matter if you're in the corporate world, it doesn't matter if you're in the university, it doesn't matter if you're in the church, whatever sect of business or lifestyle it is. When it comes down to purpose, purpose is this: what were you designed and created to do that would make an impact that is positive on the world? Not what you got into because someone told you or persuaded you to go this direction or take this major or do this, but what is it that is assigned specifically to you? And one of the things that you can tell about purpose is your purpose is usually attached to the pain that you've went through and encountered in your life. You say, what does that mean? Well, the thing is I also do private one-on-one coaching, and I found out that there's a breakthrough when you allow the person to understand that the pain that you go through or experience in life is not simply just coming at you because you're a bad person. A lot of times you have to open up your mind and your understanding that it's not just about you, it's bigger than you. And when you're dealing about purpose, it's always bigger than you. So the pain that a young woman has went through, who has went through a abusive relationship, has went through just so much abuse down through the years, whether it's emotional, physical, psychological, and she's had a bad past and just wants to get away from it. Well, the thing is when you come out of that thing, it is so that now you can strengthen yourself, turn right back around, and look at someone else and say, I recognize that same thing on her. So my purpose, because I did not die when I was going through my pain, is to reach back and grab someone else and to tell them, look, you're not going to die here. You don't have to quit here. Don't give up here. Your job is to come through this to help impact someone else so they don't feel alone and they don't feel by themselves.
Wow, this is an interesting concept that you brought out because I think for me, all of the people who I've talked to who talked about purpose have kind of some pieces of that, but I like the fact that you're actually digging deeper into the actual design. What were you designed to do on earth? And a lot of people are walking around not understanding why they are here. They have some sense, or they try to say, "Oh, I think I'm supposed to do this in life," but it's a difference between, like you said, doing something in life and being designed to do something. You were born to create something that is really meaningful to you and you're not following that. And I think that's kind of interesting that you're getting people to start thinking about that and
Yeah,
to
yeah.
take action and say, okay, I want to do that. But I also have to kind of play devil's advocate too, because there's a lot of people who think that their purpose may be positive when obviously it isn't. So, how do you help people in that respect? Because there's so many people that think that their purpose is positive when clearly it's not.
Well, so that I can better understand your question is how do I address someone who may be on the wrong path and they think that they are making a positive impact? Is that correct?
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, one of the things is I always address is it's very important to have a good support system around you, whether it's student athletes, whether it's in the corporate world, whether it's in church, no matter where your surrounding or demographic is, personal or private. It's when it's I always say when it deals with purpose, it's always bigger than you. So I'm a big advocate of surrounding yourself with a support system. The support system doesn't mean we support everything that you say or do. It means that we serve as a guideline or a guardrail so that when you are going off of your boundary, someone who is going in the same direction as you can look at you and say, "Hey, that's not the right direction. Let's go over this way. Let's scoot over a little bit. Let's make sure that we're back in this line." Because if you don't have someone or people within your life who can, they need to be going where you're going, or they need to be already where you're trying to get. So someone who thinks that they are on the right track, it's very easily detected when you have other people who are going in that same direction who can say, "Hey, quickly, hey, let me check this right here. Hey, take it to the side and within love, say it in a loving way, or not even say it in a loving way and say, you know what? I don't know what you're doing. You got off on the wrong exit, but it's time for you to get back on." That support system is very important because it makes sure that we don't just think we're doing something positive, but we know we're doing something powerful. And that's the key. Make sure that you have the right people around you who will not just be people who will say yes and agree with everything, but that challenge you. Because if you're not challenged in these areas, you won't grow in these areas. And the word says that iron sharpeneth iron. So you need to have people around you who will not just go with the grain, but they won't be afraid to go against the grain, not to harm you, but to make sure that you're sharp with precision.
Wow, that is a powerful statement. And I like the way that you put it in that category. So I'm pretty sure that everybody who's listening to this podcast is probably perplexed like I am, but it makes sense. It makes sense because a lot of us are walking around thinking that we're doing something powerful. We think we're doing something that's purposeful, and it's definitely in the wrong direction. And there's many of us out there that do not have a support system. I would encourage that people try to get people in their circle who have their best interests, but even sometimes that is difficult. But again, as a people, we have to be able to foster each other and be able to lift each other up so that everybody has a support system somehow. Even if you're on your workplace or you're in the grocery store and you know someone, there's always a way for you to reach out and create
Right,
a support
right.
system. And I want to make sure I drive that home to people who are listening and to your point, because there's too many times that we're going around making decisions based on what we think is good when we don't really have that second or third eye on us to make sure that we are doing something good. And
And
I
that's
want
what
our,
that right there is
mhm,
extremely important
right,
because I also dig into that you can be doing something positive, but it's attached to your purpose. Sometimes we do things that are positive, but most likely what lets us know that it's not attached to our purpose is that we stay in a place where we are comfortable. And when you're comfortable and you're not being stretched, you're not doing your purpose. Your purpose is always going to be in a place where it is unfamiliar and uncomfortable. It's not about making you feel good, because to tell someone and to impact someone else's life and to help them put their life back together, you have to experience things that will break you apart. So to impact someone, when it's attached to your purpose, you'll know you're in your purpose when, number one, you're not comfortable. Number two, you're stepping out on an unfamiliar territory. It's something that, it doesn't make, your purpose is not always going to make sense. 1 + 1 = 2. 2 × 2 = 4. It's not always going to make sense, but it doesn't have to make sense when it's an assignment attached to your life, because you won't see the full picture all at one time. But you have to keep going. And when you're doing something powerful and it's attached to the thing you were designed to do, you'll know it because it will impact someone else to break out into their life and into their purpose. It's just like a domino effect. That's how you will know it's attached to your purpose, and that's how you'll know it's just something positive, and you're scared to step out, and you're just doing the minimum.
Absolutely. We definitely have to step out of our comfort zone if we want to reach the full potential of our being. So, Jared, let me turn the attention to your book. I'm really interested to find out about your book that you've written, The Impact Kit. And it just seems like a great timing to talk about that because we're talking about impacting others. And I want to give you the opportunity to talk about your book and what inspired you to write the book, and what are some of the things that people can find that will be helpful to them from your book?
Sure. The Impact Kit, the book is out now. You can download it right now from Amazon, your Kindle Fire. Just go into the Amazon on tab on your phone to the Amazon Google Play and go and type in my name, JAIRROD BURCH, The Impact Kit. The Impact Kit was designed for those of us who are thinkers. That's why it's the Impact Kit, Empowerment for Influencers. I wrote it because it's a different type of book. What it is it's a book that I place together strategically for people who don't need an entire 30 minutes of someone giving them of a dissertation or a speech. They just need something to ignite or give them that certain spark. So what I did was I comprised together my personal and professional experience and put together personal quotes that I have within the book. So I didn't just put the quotes there that would make you think, but I also put personal commentary right next to it that would also give you an idea of what I was referring to in that particular quote. So when you look at it, it's very easy to read, but it's for those of you who just need that spark, something that will ignite that idea or push you over to from that idea into your dream. Some of us, I found that in my experience, when you're dealing with someone who is serious about stepping into their dreams, they're always one step away. They're not 5, 6, 7, 8 steps back, but they're serious, which means they're intentional. So they only need that quick inspiration or that quick thought, something that will trigger so that they can say, oh, that's exactly what I need. That's the direction I need to go. Oh, that's what I mean. And it's that type of book that you can take with you anywhere, download it, look at it. It's very easy to read, whether you're a stay-at-home parent, whether you're a college professor, whether you're in the military, whether you're a policeman, fireman, clergy, student. It's an easy read, and it's a must-have.
That's fantastic. I am really excited about that book. And personally, everybody's going to hear this on all the podcasts that I am excited for any book that offers you a tool to be able to do something. It's not just a book where you could just read and say, this is a good read. It's actually something you can use for a lifetime. So I'm encouraging everybody to please go out and buy his book and buy any of the books that you hear on this podcast because it's really important as our community needs to read more and do more. And I want to encourage that. So tell us about your Academy Victorious and some of the other initiatives that you're working on.
Well, Academy Victorious is a university inside of Value on Purpose. And what Academy Victorious is, it is a leadership development university. So what I do is whether it's in the corporate industry, whether it is with student athletes, whether it's with parents, Academy Victorious is the university that I come, introduce whatever set curriculum that we have towards the demographic audience that we're looking at, and you're able to come inside, see exactly what you need, and it's more personal. It's a seminar style type teaching. It's more personal than just me keynoting, where it's general. But then when you bring me in and I'm speaking to your staff, I'm speaking to your business associates, I'm speaking to your church leaders. It's a time to where it's designed to bridge the gap between leadership and those that are being led. So the team members and the leadership, management and employee, things like that. So I was having a discussion with an associate of mine, and we were talking about the great falling away that we see of those who are employees that are just leaving companies. And it's not because they hate necessarily the job, it's that they are having so many disputes with the management on the job. And a lot of times when you just look at someone as an employee and not a person, or a manager and not a person, there leaves a gap in between of confusion and miscommunication. That's why when I come in, I bridge that gap to make sure I have a leadership development class called, it is the Impact, Authority, and Leadership Development Session. And in that particular course, we deal with things such as bridging the gap, making sure that you can look eye to eye with the people that you work with. Put down your titles. Put down the job positions. Because when you look at someone and they let their guard down, and you see them and you get a chance to hear them talk about the issues that they go through outside of work, then it allows you to let your guard down, which takes the animosity out of the environment. And it creates another culture within that hostility, because it's the people that are coming to work, they want to work in an environment that it's not hostile, it's inviting, it's open. That's the difference between having someone work with you and having someone just coming to work for a
Hmm.
paycheck.
And that's really important. So, just quickly, why do you think there's such a gap in that arena in terms of between managers and staff? I kind of want to get your perspective on that because I can hear the passion in your voice as you talk about it, and because it's such a gap. But I want to hear your perception on why it's such a huge problem.
Well, a lot of times, and one of the best things about it is that when I come in, I don't have to hold any punches. Now, they may not be able to open up. I was invited by the Northwest region, the YMCA, to come in and speak to their staff. And when they brought me in to speak to the entire staff, they were coming to me one by one and saying, "Oh, hey, we're glad to have you. We really wish that you can hit on these certain subjects." And they would come to me one by one, and I was thinking, I said, don't worry about it. It's okay. This is what I was born to do, and because this is my purpose, I know exactly what I need to talk on. So when I come in, I don't come in to hold hands and pull punches. You don't get any work done. You don't get any progress done. What causes that is a lot of times companies don't take the responsibility to say, you know what? We put managers in place, but we did not put leaders in place. And there's a big difference between having a leader as a manager and then having someone placed in a manager position. So when they're just placed in that position, they don't have any sensitivity towards the people that they are leading. So it comes out as, because I have authority, you got to do what I say. But respect is never gained by being authoritative. Respect is gained by helping build by example. So when you allow yourself to not just say, hey, we have an open door policy, but show by example. Show by example. We're not just going to say we have an open door policy, but we're going to establish an open heart policy, which means our door is open, but so is our heart. And we're going to hear the concerns of those who make this company better. Your first employee are the people who work for you. Your first customer are the people who work for you. They are the first participants. So one of my favorite places to go is Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. So when I go there, it's not just because, oh, don't mess with me on that chicken sandwich. So, but the thing is that you have so many people who go, they'll pass up McDonald's, they'll pass up Burger King, they'll pass up Culver's. Why? Not because they're not hungry, not because those other places don't provide a chicken sandwich. They all do. However, it is the environment in which you're allowed to eat that sandwich.
Wow. Wait a minute. Let's step back. Let's repeat that one more time about the environment.
It is the environment. They're passing chicken sandwiches and restaurants that can serve chicken sandwiches all over. But people don't just pay for quality. They pay for the experience. That's so true. When they come there, they know that they're not just going to get good food, but what's the first thing they do after they eat? They stay.
Yes, and because sit around and talk.
It's the atmosphere. Whenever you are at a place where it is not a place that is conducive or it's not supportive or people really I don't like this place, you'll know because once they get a chance to leave, they're gone. When they love it, they'll stick around. You got to tell them to leave. Okay, turn off the lights. They're still there. That's because they feel comfortable.
Right,
and Chick-fil-A has mastered that.
Yes,
so what Value on Purpose has done is Value on Purpose is saying, look, let me teach you how to get culture. Let me teach you how to get that environment because you're trying to get people to produce for you in an environment where it's not pushing them to their fullest potential, and they know it.
Wow. I have to say, Jared, you are very passionate. It is obvious you are so passionate about everything that you're saying right now, and I really appreciate it because we need to be passionate just like you about our purpose and everything that you're saying. It's just like that chicken sandwich that you mentioned. As much as we love Chick-fil-A, we should be loving our purpose. And I want to make sure we put that point, because if you didn't understand what your value is by the time you finish listening to this podcast, there's something is wrong, okay? So let me ask you. Okay, so this is a networking event, and of course, everybody who's listening to this podcast and participating in it, what does Jared need to help thrive and to further your passion to get the word out about valuing your purpose?
I need people who are decision makers. One of the key things about people who are hungry for success, when they're hungry, they only deal with people who make decisions, because when you deal with someone who makes decisions, they get things moving and going. My thing is, for the people who are hearing now, and you have a small business, or you have a big corporation, or you're in a high school and a university, and you say, the things that he's saying is absolutely true. I'm saying, take it a step further. Don't just sit there and be interested in what I'm saying. I need you to invest in what I'm saying. Get a hold of me. Get on my website, www.valueonpurpose with ALSTNTEC.com. Get in touch with me. Get in touch with my team and say, you know what? We need Jared to come here and get our team in the shape. We need Jared to come and speak at this event because I told you before at the beginning of the show, I'm not a motivational, but I am a focusational speaker. So it's not just my job to make you feel happy and inspired, but I want to make sure that you're inspired with a direction. You need focus, and your team will produce for you when they know that you will go to bat for them. I need people who will be serious enough to say, we're hearing him, we know we need him, let's get him. Get in touch with my team, get in touch with me on social media, reach out, we'll get in contact with you immediately and say, it's time to bring value on purpose, and this message, it's time to bring it right to the place where you need it the most.
Absolutely. And everybody, I really want you guys to really take in what Jared is saying and really absorb this passion and this excitement that he feels for what he's doing, because we all need to step out of our comfort zone, to get into the environment where we feel that we're comfortable, that we can thrive, and also to make decisions and not just sit on our opportunities. This podcast, these
Right,
speakers that
right.
are on this podcast, they're here to give you information. It may be 20 or 30 or 40 minutes of information, but it is a contact in which you can use to help you thrive and serve your purpose. So with that, Jared, I would like to thank you so much for being on the podcast today and sharing all this wonderful information with everybody. I'm definitely pumped up and definitely looking to value my purpose even more.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you to your worldwide audience. Thank you for everybody across the globe. Thank you for everyone who is hearing this, whether by way of social media or playback. We just want to say thank you from the bottom of our hearts here at Value on Purpose. And we're bringing value back into the lives of many, one experience at a time. Thank
Absolutely. And everybody, I want to remind you to please visit each and every podcast and listen to each and every thing that's going on out there, because you just never know what information could be found